યાર વોલ્યુમ કમ કરવાનો. ઓક્સ બંધ કરો, ત્યાંથી વોલ્યુમ ઓછું કરો. નો રિસીવરમાંથી મેઇન વોલ્યુમ થોડું ઓછું કરો.
हरिओम हरिओम. हरिओम 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 हरिओम.
ઓક્સ બંધ કરો, ફરીથી સેમ પાછળ પાછળના ઓક્સ. સો દેર ઇઝ સ્ટીલ ધ હમિંગ, નો ચાલુ છે. ઓક્સનું બંધ કરો એટલે મેઇન વોલ્યુમ બંધ કરવાનું, નોટ ધ ફ્રમ. हाँ, हरिओम. चलो बैठ जाओ. Link has been put. ओम सहना ववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ओम शांति शांति शांति. ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. ओम श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं. शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्. हरि ओम. Salutations to all. That door we have to put aside. That door. Yeah. We will chant from the first verse onwards up to verse number 23. ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः. अथ त्रयोदशोऽध्यायः. अर्जुन उवाच प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव क्षेत्रं क्षेत्रज्ञमेव च एतद्वेदितुमिच्छामि ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं च केशव। श्रीभगवानुवाच इदं शरीरं कौन्तेय क्षेत्रमित्यभिधीयते एतद्यो वेत्ति तं प्राहुः क्षेत्रज्ञ इति तद्विदः। क्षेत्रज्ञं चापि मां विद्धि सर्वक्षेत्रेषु भारत क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोर्ज्ञानं यत्तज्ज्ञानं मतं मम। तत्क्षेत्रं यच्च यादृक् च यद्विकारि यतश्च यत् स च यो यत्प्रभावश्च तत्समासेन मे शृणु। ऋषिभिर्बहुधा गीतं छन्दोभिर्विविधैः पृथक् ब्रह्मसूत्रपदैश्चैव हेतुमद्भिर्विनिश्चितैः। महाभूतान्यहङ्कारः बुद्धिरव्यक्तमेव च इन्द्रियाणि दशैकं च पञ्चचेन्द्रियगोचराः इच्छा द्वेषः सुखं दुःखं सङ्घातश्चेतना धृतिः एतत् क्षेत्रं समासेन सविकारमुदाहृतम्। अमानित्वमदम्भित्वम् अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचं स्थैर्यम् आत्मविनिग्रहः इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्ममृत्युजरा व्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वं निष्ठोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वं तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा ज्ञेयं यत्तत् प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वामृतमश्नुते अनादिमत्परं ब्रह्म न सत्तन्नासदुच्यते। पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतोक्षिशिरोमुखं सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वमावृत्य तिष्ठति सर्वेन्द्रियगुणाभासं सर्वेन्द्रियविवर्जितम् असक्तः सर्वभृच्चैव निर्गुणं गुणभोक्तृ च बहिरन्तश्च भूतानाम् अचरं चरमेव च सूक्ष्मत्वात् तदविज्ञेयं दूरस्थं चान्तिके च तत् अविभक्तं च भूतेषु विभक्तमिव च स्थितं भूतभर्तृ च तज्ज्ञेयं ग्रसिष्णुप्रभविष्णु च ज्योतिषामपि तज्ज्योतिः परमुच्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य विष्ठितम्। समासे इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः मद्भक्त एतद्विज्ञाय मद्भावायोपपद्यते प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव विध्यनादिवुभावपि विकारांश्च गुणांश्चैव विद्धि प्रकृतिसम्भवान् कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सदसद्यो निजन्मसु उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तः देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः. So we are seeing the third section in this 13th chapter, that is about Prakriti and Purusha. So it was said here that Prakriti and Purusha both are Anadi. But by saying the word Ubhav, it means that they both are different from each other and they are both. So Shankaracharya ji has said they both are the powers of Ishvara. Prakriti and Purusha are powers of Ishvara. Shankaracharya ji said that in his commentary. We saw that Purusha is consciousness, Prakriti is the primordial matter, the source of the entire creation. But Shankaracharya ji here says, Prakritim Purusham cha eva Ishwarasya Prakriti tau Prakriti Purusha ubhau api anadi vidhi na vidyate adihi yayoho tau anadi. Meaning, know that both Prakriti and Purusha are God's powers. And please remember, God doesn't mean that Western concept of God, Ishvara only. So he calls them as Ishvara's powers. Why? Ishvara here is because we are connecting it to Srishti. So Brahman only appears as Ishvara, and with connection to Srishti, Prakriti and Purusha are the powers of that only. Prakriti is the matter, the power of matter. Purusha is the enlivening power. They are both anadi, meaning they are eternal. So when we think of power, we should not think of inertness then. Nitya Ishwaratvat Ishwarasya tat prakritayoho api yuktam nityatvena bhavitum. Ishvara is Ishvara because of these powers. And because of Ishvara being eternal, these powers also are eternal. What does that mean? Ishvara has the capability of creation, sustenance and destruction. That creation, sustenance and destruction is possible only because of this, Prakriti and Purusha. Yesterday we saw that. One of them is not there, creation won't happen. But both of them are powers of Ishvara. Both of them are eternal because Ishvara is eternal. And so, here that's why he says, that's the explanation he has given for the first line here. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidhyanadi Ubhavapi. Then we saw Vikarancha Gunanchaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. The Vikaras and the Gunas, 3 Gunas and these Vikaras, what we saw, all the 5 elements and the senses and all that, they all are born from Prakriti, not in Purusha. In consciousness there are none of these. That is only enlivening factor. Now, having said that, the purpose of this we saw is to distinguish from the mix-up that we have done. Our nature is Purusha, we have identified with Prakriti. And this Viveka is being done to understand that you are not Prakriti, you are Purusha. So, the separation happens here in the 20th one where he says Karya Karana Kartritve. So there is in our Chinmaya Mission book you will see Karya Karana Kartritve. Both versions are there. Karya means effect. Karana means cause. So if the expression used is Karya Karana Kartritve Hetu Prakriti Ruchyate, then it means Prakriti is the cause for the expression that we see of cause and effect in the world. So if the mud is the cause, the pot will be the effect. We see in the world cause and effect is happening. So cause and effect, if the seed is the cause, the tree is the effect. So the cause and effect work in this Srishti, But this cause and effect is whose? Prakritis. In Purusha, there is no cause and effect. There is no duality. So, Karya Karana Kartritva, if it is given, that means cause and effect. In some places, you will have Karya Karana Kartritva. Then in that context, we saw that Karya means all this, the effect. So, this Sharira, and Karana means the equipment. So, Purusha Sukha Dukkhanam Bhoktritve Hetu Ruchyate. Now, equipment being inert, how is the equipment experiencing anything? It's only because the Purusha is enlivening that, and who is experiencing it through the equipment is that Purusha who has identified with that Prakriti. Yesterday we saw that, no? Om identified with the BMI becomes PFT. That PFT is the experiencer. BMI is the Karana. Is the equipment, Karana. Om is that Purusha, pure Purusha, not identified with anything. But that Om reflecting in BMI becomes PFT. Becomes in the sense appears as the PFT. That is the enjoyer. So that's why he says here that Purusha Sukha Dukkhanam Bhoktritve Hetu Ruchyate. Please remember this word Purusha here means the embodied self. This Purusha does not mean Supreme Purusha. Supreme Purusha, there is no duality, so where is the question of big bhokta? This is embodied self. Identified with the Karana is embodied self. And which is what is the purpose? And that is what Shankaracharya ji says here. That how Purusha has got identified with this Prakriti, so this Purusha is going through cycle of birth and death, which by itself the Purusha is uncaused, birthless, changeless, deathless consciousness. That Purusha is now going through all cycle of birth and death. Why? Because forgotten who am I? I got identified with the BMI. Gone. So this separation is for that. Purusha Prakriti Sthohi Bhungte Prakriti Jan Gunan. Now identified with this Prakriti, this Purusha is going through all the various modes. And Karanam Guna Sangosya Sadasadyoni Janmasu. Because of the attachment to the gunas, so identified with the BMI, gunas it will identify with. Now it is going through Sadasadyoni Janma. Now that Sadasadyoni Janmasu means lower Janmas, higher Janmas. What does that mean? The Sat Yoni means the higher yonis, human being, Devata, Yaksha, Kinnara, Gandharva, all these are higher yonis. Not human being, sorry, I missed. So higher yonis are above human being. Devata, Gandharva, Yaksha, Kinnara, Siddha, Charana, Kimpurusha, all these are higher yonis. Lower yonis are below human. Plants, birds, animals, all these. Middle yoni is this human being. So the scripture will say if punya exceeds papa, one goes to Devatalo, becomes a higher being. If papa exceeds punya in a particular life, meaning not that in this life if has one done as more punya then one will become Devata. No. When a person drops this body, whatever sanchit karma is ready to fructify, in that what is the combination of punya and papa? If papa is more than punya, then that jiva will get a birth which is lower. If punya is more than papa, jiva will get higher yoni. Punya and papa is somewhat balanced, almost balanced. It need not be exactly equal, but balanced. Then human birth. Swamiji, punya and papa, if they become equal, then one becomes human birth. मतलब पाप करना चाहिए ना. 50% पाप हम कर सकते हैं. This is called kutarka. Meaning, this arrangement is to tell us कि भाई look at Bhagwan's kripa कि पाप कर्म करने के बाद भी you are still getting human yoni. It is his compassion that we are getting human yoni, even with papa karma. Otherwise, one will be somewhere down only. How will one evolve and get out of the cycle of birth and death? That is one point to understand. So this Sadasadyoni Janmasu, that's what Shankaracharya ji has written here. Sadyonayaha Devadi Yonayaha. Asadyonayaha Pashvadi Yonayaha. Samarthyat Sadasadyonayaha Manushayonayo api aviruddha drashtavyaha. So which is combination. तो चेंज करो. Hari Om. Is it better now? Check. So, the combination of punya and papa becoming almost equal gives the human birth. Now, what constitutes the variety then? अब सबके पुण्य पाप इक्वल होंगे तभी ह्यूमन बर्थ मिलेगा. मतलब सबके नहीं, मतलब each one's punya papa is balanced, then one will get a human body. Then why is it that in human birth some people are very saintly, some people are very, nasty? ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? So, one reason is the quantity of karmas of the jivas is not the same, no? One. Quality of karma is also not same. Which vasana, which jiva has brought, who knows? Meritorious or demeritorious, that is only one criteria. To get the equipment. But that equipment's quality is not determined by that punya and papa only. That is determined by the combination of three gunas, the vasana's texture. The sattvic, rajasic, tamasic vasana combination determines that jiva's desires, thoughts, actions, and so body will be according to that, actions will be according to that. So the point is what? The whole system of cycle of birth and death is functioning. Why? Because Purusha forgot himself. So at the end of this verse, Shankaracharya has written a very nice thing, that what is the purpose of studying this Purusha and Prakriti? Because people think of it only in terms of some theory कि अच्छा पुरुष है प्रकृति है, इन दोनों के combination से creation होता है, ठीक है. Arey, they may have a problem at their side end also now. Who is that gentleman or person that you have to find out? If it is coming properly to everybody, they better check from their side. Arey, they were complaining about the volume that point in time, Baba. This person is not updating you properly. Huh. What has changed? We have not changed any setting. Yesterday it was same setting only. It's coming, इतना तो clearly आ रहा है. अब पता नहीं क्या. 14th chapter I am not doing offline at all. I will straight away do online now. Because this is too much of effort. And every time, even the recording we have to take from here, put and upload separately. वो सब just do, sit and quietly finish. Because focus जाता है इससे फिर हर बार. Some other class we will do offline here, देखा जाएगा. So Shankaracharya ji writes what? Etaduktam bhavati prakritistu akhya avidya guneshu cha sangha kama. So he says to get out of this asya cha nivritti karanam jnana vairagye sa sannyase Gita Shastre prasiddham. Three things are important. One is knowledge. What will dispel this ignorance is knowledge. I have forgotten who am I. That is the cause of this cycle of birth and death. So what will dispel this? Jnana. To get jnana, what is required? Vairagya and sannyasa. False identification I have to drop, and vairagya has to be cultivated. If both these I cannot do, then jnana will not happen. So he says, jnana vairagye sa sannyase Gita Shastre prasiddham. So it can also mean, jnana in this context can mean knowledge of the self. Vairagya is knowledge of the self, means informative knowledge of the self, what we listen. Then based on that, we get dispassion to withdraw from the world, and then based on that, sannyasa is you drop the false identification. Then come to know the truth. So, the purpose of studying this is that. 21st verse, the purpose is that now. 22nd, sorry. Now, he goes ahead to explain that that's Supreme Purusha only in the individual is functioning as what? Upadrashta Anumantacha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara. Upadrashta, here Shankaracharya has given a very nice definition of Upadrashta. Upadrashta Samipastha San Drashta Swayam Avyapritah, which means what? That is Upadrashta Samipasan is closest and yet is uninvolved. That is Upadrashta. Upa word there is closest. Like how we say, na, Upanishad. Upa means near, Ni means down, Shad means to sit. So Upa means the nearest. What is the nearest to us? Think. What is the nearest to us? Self only. What is farthest to us in the personality? How the self? That is, in that context, you are right. I am saying, apart from that context, what is farthest to us? In the personality, I am saying. Body. Body is the grossest outside. Subtler than the body is the breath. Subtler than the breath is mind. Subtler than the mind is intellect. Subtler than the intellect is ahankar. Subtler than the ahankar is the atma. Atma is our true self. That is, to say in one expression, we say is the nearest to us. But it is us only. It is not nearest to us. It is I. The real I is that atma. And the farthest to I, the real I, is body as far as personality. Otherwise, the world outside and all that is also concerned, that is also outside. But farthest is the body. But what is the avidya? The near farthest one is considered as the, I am the body only. Self is somewhere, pata nahi kidhar hai ki nahi, wo bhi nahi pata. Arey, that is our true nature, but gone. Far somewhere it is. Some attributeless, nameless, formless self hoga. Arey, but that is only the nearest. So Upadrashta means that which is the consciousness, which is the nearest, which is the observer of all this. That's what Shankaracharya says. And so he gives one example, just like the priests. There are different types of priests. In a Havan, in a Vedic Yajna, there are different types of Pandits who are sitting. Somebody will do the offerings, somebody will chant the mantras, somebody will help in doing arrangements, and one person will be observer of everything and will watch, is all going on properly or not. That example is what Shankaracharya has given. Tatastha is called. So, just as while the officiating priest and the sacrificer busy themselves with the sacrificial activities, another, an expert in the science of sacrifice, observes their merits or flaws without participating in them. So, uninvolved observer is that priest. Like that, the self in us is the Upadrashta, uninvolved observer of all the activities. See, these words that are being used here, no? These are the same words today that quantum physics is using. Where they say, who is the ultimate observer? One who is observing even the ego and its activities and the senses and the body, the thoughts and the intellect and everything. Who is not observed by anybody else. Everyone else is observed by somebody or the other. Something or the other. Self is not observed by anyone else. That is what we saw in the beginning, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, in that when we saw the laws of seer and seen, in that we saw that seer never becomes the seen. The ultimate sakshi is drugeva natu drishyate, is only drashta. Every other seer can become the seen in another context, like the body, the eyes are the seer, object is the seen. But the eyes become the seen when the mind becomes the seer. But with consciousness, it will never become the seen. So that is the ultimate observer. That is this. And which observes without the eyes and which listens without the ears. That's what the Upanishad says. Pashyamya chakshu sashunomi akarnaha. And that consciousness is my nature. So, upadrashta, one meaning is that. So the observers are the body, the eye, the mind, the intellect, the self, the body being the outermost. Proceeding inward, therefrom, the innermost observer is the self. Thus, this most inward observer is called as upadrashta. Literally, upadrashta is translated as close observer. So, upadrashta, then anumanta. This anumanta, just like that priest gives the approval. In that way, he says here that though he does not participate in the activity of the body and in the instrument, by being present and enlivening them, he is as though empowering them to perform activities. So, upadrashta, anumanta cha, bharta. Now that same Purusha has become bharta, nourisher, through all the senses. And bhokta, enjoyer also. And forgot what? That I am Maheshwara actually. So we saw yesterday, one meaning of Maheshwara is Lord. It means Lord of the body, Lord of the family, Lord of all that. But real meaning of Maheshwara actually is also Bhagavan only. So who is that Jiva? That Jiva is Bhagavan only, but that's forgotten. I am Maheshwara, I am infinite consciousness, now forgotten and identified with one body. So, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwaraha, Paramatma iti cha api yuktaha, and that is Maheshwara only is Paramatma. So one meaning also here is this, Paramatma refers to Brahman, and that's why he says Dehesmin Purusha Paraha. In this body that Brahman is the supreme. And Maheshwara means Ishvara, creator. So in this one shloka, there is description of Brahman also, Ishwar also, Atma also. Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta is Atma. Maheshwara refers to that same Atma is actually Ishvara. And that only is Brahman. There is no difference in all the three. That is what is being explained here. Dehesmin Purusha Paraha. Now, who knows this? What will happen to them? What is the result of knowing this? Ki, my nature is that Purusha and I am not this BMI and I am not this Jiva. 23rd verse. 24th, sorry. Ya evam veti purusham prakritim cha gunai saha sarvatha vartamanopi nasabhuyo bhijayate. Ya evam veti, whoever knows like this, what? That my nature is that Purusha, I am only that Brahman, I am only that Upadrashta, I am not this Mr. So-and-so, I am not the equipment. Whoever knows this, ya evam veti Purusham, and who also knows Prakritim Gunai Saha, who has done the Viveka, ki what is Prakriti and what is Purusha, separated. How does one do that? Live as a witness. If I have that clarity, I am the Sakshi. BMI will go through whatever it will go through. One may try with sadhana to keep it in the highest state of sattva guna. Then only Sakshi Bhav becomes possible to practice. If one continues that sattva guna lifestyle and Sakshi Bhav one practices, then what will happen? One will come to realize that I am that Purusha. So, ya evam vetti Purusham Prakritim cha gunaisaha. That person is able to clearly see the difference. This is Prakriti, I am the witness of it, I have nothing to do with this. Then, Sarvatha Vartamanopi. Whatever be the state of that body, mind, intellect, Nasabhuyo bhijayate. That person will not be reborn again. Meaning that person will attain Jivan Mukti by living only. And then of course at the end of the body dropping, there is no residue left, so there is no body again being born. No Punarjanma happens. Please remember this one line here, Sarvatha Vartamanopi does not mean that that person can do anything and yet that person will not be born. Sarvatha Vartamanopi. In whichever state that person is, matlab, drink alcohol, fall somewhere, still nothing will happen to that person. No. Sarvatha Vartamanopi doesn't mean that. This means what is given in the Tattva Bodh and even in the other Upanishadic texts and all that. What? For a jiva, for an ordinary person, all the things will matter around people, food, air, water, inputs through the senses, work, everything will make an impression on the mind of that person. It will create new vasanas. But for this person, based on whatever is the prarabdha of the body, this person's body is living. If you see Rishabh Devji in Bhagavatam, Rishabh Devji's son is Bharat Raja, after whom our country is named Bharat. He had 100 sons. He ruled nicely and then he made Bharat Raja the king and then he renounced. If you see that description, he lived like one madman. He would not wear proper clothes. He will be like some Digambara. Sometimes he will be lying in Ajgara Vritti, like a python, not doing anything. Sometimes he will be lying in his own urine and fecal matter, not bothered. And he doesn't want any people to come to him, to trouble him. So he is living like one indifferent person. Those states are indicated here. Not that somebody is dull, ignorant, lazy, lethargic, sarvatha vartamanopi sayogi mai vartate. Sanasabhuyo bhijayate. No. Meaning who has known this truth, after having known this truth, because ya evam vetti is given there. Whoever has known this truth, their body may be going through anything because of past prarabdha karma, but their abidance in the truth is not shaken. And because of that abidance in the truth, what happens? No rebirth for them. They come to realize this, my nature is Purusha, I am unborn, unchanging, undying. There is no body to be born again because Prakriti is not, no identification with the Prakriti. So, Sarvatha Vartamanopi Nasabhuyo Bhijayate. All karmas of that person will get destroyed. What we see in the Gita 4th chapter, Bhagavan says, Jnanagni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute. All karmas gone. Sanchit karma burnt by the fire of knowledge. Prarabdha karma they are going through with the sense of detachment. Okay, this is not me. Whatever agami karma has been done before their realization has already got added into Sanchita and it got burnt. Whatever agami karma they will do now, based on whatever prarabdha is to exhaust, karma will happen. But they don't have the jiva bhav, so they will not get the result of that. But the result has to come for karma which is done. So who will get that result? Who will get? Jivan Mukta's karma, after realizing the truth, when any karmas are done, that karma will produce karma phala. But the Jivan Mukta is not having the Jiva Bhav, so the Jivan Mukta cannot be the Bhokta of that. Then who is the Bhokta of that karma? Phala. Because karma phala will be created. Only disciples. मतलब devotee disciple बस वही. हाँ, कहाँ बोला है ये? तत्वबोध में. मुझसे सुना है, लेकिन कौन से टेक्स्ट में सुना है? तत्वबोध में. आई कम बैक टू तत्वबोध एवरी टाइम. उसको मास्टर कर लेना चाहिए भाई, तत्वबोध को पहले, बाकी सब फिर आसान हो जाएगा. So the karma of that Jivan Mukta, having attained knowledge, whatever balance prarabdha is there for that Jivan Mukta's body, that karma, the good karmas of that will go to the devotees. The negative karma, if at all any arising, will go to the critic. And that's why don't criticize any Jivan Mukta, any Mahatma. Unnecessarily there, some negative karma, if at all it is there, it will come to us. For why? आज तो हमारे नेगेटिव कर्म कम थे हमारे लिए कि उनके भी हम ले रहे. So this one elaborate discussion that is there in this commentary, I've just told you in brief only, because all karmas will get destroyed fully. They will not have any residue. That's why the example given for them is like the camphor. Camphor will burn fully. There is no residue left for the camphor. So now, sarvatha vartamanopi nasabhuyo bhi jayate. So this is the result of that kind of a detachment from Prakriti and abiding in the Purusha. Now how to do that? Now in 24 and 25, these verses are given. Dhyanen atmani pashyanti kechidatmanam atmana anye sankhyena yogena karma yogena chapare anye tvevam janantaha shrutvanyebhya upasate tepi chatitarantyeva mrityum shruti parayanaha. You know, in the 12th chapter, 4 levels of sadhana were given. Uttamadhikari, Madhyamadhikari, Mandadhikari, and the Adhamadhikari. What are those verses there? Mayeva mana adhatsva, mayi buddhim niveshaya, nivasishyasi mayeva ata urdhvamna samshaya. Fully you surrender unto me, my mind, intellect, and you will come to me. Uttamadhikari can do full surrender. Then it was said, if you can't do that, then abhyasa yogena tatah mamit chaptam dhananjaya. Do abhyasa yoga, chant my name, do the japa, be single pointed, and then that will lead to surrender, that will lead to mukti. If you can't even chant the name, vasana pressure is so high, mind is wandering here, there, then what to do? Abhyasepya samarthosi mat karma paramo bhava. Do karma. Meaning, karma dedicated to Bhagavan. Karma yoga, perform karma yoga. And if that karma yoga also is not possible, because the mind is so preoccupied with the selfish desire, then what to do? Then sarva karma phala tyagam tata kuru yatatmavan. Then you do karma phala tyaga. Those 4 levels were given. That is in bhakti. Here in these 2 verses, 4 levels of jnana sadhana are given. Same order of higher to lower. Little different. So dhyanena atmani pashyanti kechid atmanam atmana. The highest level of sadhak remains in the state of dhyan only. Remains in the state of dhyan. Meaning I am Brahman abides in that only. What was there as complete surrender, na? Man and buddhi, you surrender to Bhagwan. Here this person is abiding in this sakshi. That's what the definition of dhyana Shankaracharya ji gives. Dhyanam nama shabdadibhyo vishayebhya shrotradini karanani manasi upasamhritya manascha pratyak chetaitari ekagrataya yat chintanam tad dhyanam. Is the definition of dhyan. Meaning what? Withdraw from the sense objects, body, mind, intellect, and abide in the self. That state of abidance in the self is called dhyan. So, pratyak chetaitari, that is the inner self. Abide as the self. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the breath, I am not the intellect, I am not the ego. Who am I? Brahman. Self, Atma. To abide in that state is the highest level. Those who have done enough sadhana, purified their mind, they can do that. They live as consciousness only. Now, it is a dhyanena atmani pashyanti. Through that steady contemplation, they have come to wake up to the self. Atmanam atmana. By their effort, they have realized. Anye sankhyena yogena. Next level is those who have, now who will abide in dhyan? Two important qualities required for abiding in this state of dhyan. One is purity of mind is very important. Second, clarity is important. Who am I? Otherwise, how will I abide in the self? Because I don't know only what is that self. Which is why it is important to gain knowledge. It cannot happen just like that. Even in the 10th chapter we saw Bhakta also may not study Vedanta like this. But Bhagavan says that those who are thinking of me in this way with Ananya Bhav, to such bhaktas, Bhagavan says, Dadame buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. I will give them the buddhi yoga by which they will come to me. So knowledge is very, very important. Even a bhakta needs knowledge of oneness with Bhagavan. Essential oneness we are talking about. So if one can't remain in that state, then the next step is listen to this knowledge, reflect on this knowledge and contemplate on this. So do the jnana sadhana. That jnana sadhana of Shravan, Mana, Nididhyasana is referred to as Sankhyena Yogena. Sankhyena Yogena is not Sankhyena separate, Yogena separate. If one wants to take like that, one can take, but that is not what is indicated here. Shankaracharya ji uses it as Sankhyena Yogena Sankhyam Nama Ime Satvarajas Tamamsi Gunaha Maya Drishyaha Aham Tebhya Anyaha Tad Vyapara Sakshi Bhuta Nityaha Guna Vilakshana Atma. This, I am not this body, mind, intellect which are going through Satvarajas Tamas. I am the witness. That knowledge one who keeps on reflecting upon and then comes to abide in that more and more. The first level of person is abiding in that spontaneously. Second level of person is putting in the efforts to abide in that state. Sankhya Yoga. Gurudev, if you read the commentary, Gurudev always defines the word Sankhya as a logical sequence. So in this commentary here, he says that what is Sankhya? Sankhya means the numbers. So you see here, he says that the term Sankhya means the sequence of logical thought through which we reach a definite philosophical conclusion, unassailable by any doubts anymore. So this Sankhya here indicates vichara, steady contemplation, reflection, clearing the doubts. So that jnana sadhana, Shravan, Mana, Nididhyasana. Now if somebody says, no, Swamiji, this is very difficult, to sit and reflect and then find out logical reasoning and why this is like this and why it is not like this and why I am not this and why I am this. ये बहुत मुश्किल है, ये सब नहीं हो सकता है. 13th chapter, half the people don't study. Those who study, उनको bouncer जाता है. एंड मेजॉरिटी हु स्टडीज एक बाउंसर किसी को जा सकता है, ये तो डबल बाउंसर जाता है एकदम. देयर इज नो नीड टू डक ऑल्सो. ऐसे ही खड़े रहो, बॉल ऊपर से, इतना ऊपर से तो चला जाएगा वो. दिस 13 चैप्टर इज लाइक दिस. सो सम पीपल से राम राम, ये 13 चैप्टर को छोड़ दो, पार्क इट असाइड. फर्स्ट टू 12 चैप्टर वी विल डू, उसके ऊपर जंप मारो, 14 चैप्टर से वापस चालू करो. सो इफ दे से कि नहीं नहीं ये नहीं हो सकता है, श्रवण मनन निधिध्यासन, आत्मा इज अनादि अनंत अव्यय, अब उसके बारे में श्रवण करो, मनन करो, निधिध्यासन करो, ये सब नहीं हो सकता. देन कर्मयोगेन चापरे, डू कर्मयोग. ईश्वर अर्पण बुद्ध्या अनुष्ठीयमानम घटन रूपम योगार्थत्वात् योगः उच्यते. डू ऑल actions dedicating it to Bhagavan. Now see the compassion of Bhagavan. 3 levels are done. One is the highest level of sadhak who is able to abide in that state of dhyan, experiences samadhi, experiences oneness, lives in that state. Second level does Shravan Manan Nididhyasan. Third level, Karma Yoga. Now if somebody says, nahi nahi Swamiji, Karma Yoga bhi nahi ho sakta hai. Bhagwan, I don't remember when I'm doing action. My mind is very restless. I forget. They won't study. They cannot dedicate their bhavana to Bhagwan. Now what will happen to them? So this next one says that Anyetu evam ajanantaha. They don't know this self. And they are not able to follow those 3 steps also. Then are they to be written off? Are they gone case? Beyond redemption. If you see in the Geeta, one very beautiful point of the Geeta, which is Sanatana Dharma standpoint actually, is there is nobody who is a gone case. Nobody. Long back when I was a brahmachari, I had done one session called Optimism in the Geeta. There is absolute so much optimism in the Geeta. There is nobody who will be written off. Bhagavan gave so many assurances. 9th chapter we see, Apichet Sudurachara Bhajate Mam Ananya Bhak. He may be Sudurachara. Gurudev used to say he is a double PhD in crime. All possible crime this fellow has done. Nothing he has spared. Even that worst of the sinners, what does Bhagavan say? Sadhure vasamantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. You consider him as sadhu if he has resolved well. 4th chapter he will say, Sarvam jnana plavenaiva vrajinam samtarishyati. One crosses all sins, the raft of knowledge. Like that it will keep coming. Here also it comes now, see. That if somebody has no qualification for any of this, Karma Yoga also can't do. Then you have at least Shraddha in the words of somebody. You may not have the ability to sit and read and reflect and logically understand, and then you believe a wise man who has realized. Just follow the words of that person and you will know the truth. That's what means Shrutva Anyebhya Upasate. Shrutva Anyebhya. Anyebhya doesn't mean anybody. They will listen to somebody who they have Shraddha in and who is a wise man. So if that teacher says, do this, bas, they will just do it. And the teacher says, don't do this, bas, they will not do. Full stop. Meaning they don't listen to their mind. They will listen to that teacher, what the teacher says. Bas, ye karo, matlab ye karo. There's one, I don't remember exact context, but Samarth Ramdas, he was teaching something and the disciples and all are sitting there in front of him and he's talking about surrender. And when he's talking about surrender and he's speaking about it, saying that, what is surrender? You completely surrender to the Guru. Whatever the Guru does, you accept that will and the instruction of the Guru and you follow. And he went on to explain that the highest level of surrender, then the second level of surrender, third level of surrender. Now he's explaining. And suddenly he comes into one avesha. He takes the sword of somebody and he starts, dancing, and now he wants to give the bali of somebody. So people who are sitting there, the disciple here and there, they start running. Arey bhago, ye kya hai? What is happening here? There's one disciple, Kalyani. She is sitting there. I don't remember it is she or he, who it is. Name is Kalyani, that much I know. She is sitting there, this Guru is dancing. She is seeing this also, Guru's Leela it is. He is dancing in this way and he has the sword and all that, and he literally is like some possessed being. And he caught that head of this Kalyani. Sword is raised. Imagine what will happen. But that Kalyani has not one trace of fear on his or her face. Folded hands is waiting. The Guru is holding the head like that with the hair. And he is dancing with his sword like that. Not one trace of fear on his face, his or her face. Then the Guru drops the sword, blesses that Kalyani, gone into samadhi, that moment gone into samadhi. Then they all realize, अच्छा ये तो इनका लीला था, भाग गए सब वहाँ से. Nothing wrong in that sense, because natural biological fear everybody will have. करे भाई क्या हो गया इनको? But that person fully surrendered. Meaning some people have like that, Nisargadatta Maharaj, his Guru told him that you are not this body. His Guru came from the Himalayas and he stayed with him and he did not know the Guru also. Guru only came knocking at his door and he stayed. And after a few days the Guru went. While going he said, refuse to believe that you are the body. You are not this body, you are not the jiva. बस गुरु ने बोल दिया you are not the body, मतलब खत्म बात. He stopped internally identifying with the body. Finished. They realized the truth. Now if somebody says कि अरे how are they called adham? They are not called adham. These are 4 levels. So they may not have this grantha dharana shakti and study, reflection, all that, or they don't want to do karma yoga. But they have caught this spirit. Ki if this person said, then I will just live like that. That is what is the meaning here. Anyetu evam ajanantaha shrutva anyebhya upasate. They hear from others about the self and they worship that self. Meaning they live like that, saying if the Guru said this means I am that, full stop. Tepi chadi tarantyeva. Then they will also cross. What? Mrityum, means the realm of change. Why? Shruti parayanaha. Because they have that ability to listen. And here the Shruti does not mean only listening to scripture. Here it means listening to that person. And then accepting that and then living like that. Because they have that Shruti parayanaha. Parayana means to live what they have heard. Then they will also realize. Many examples we find like that. Of those disciples who will just listen what to do, to what the Guru said, and if they follow that instruction to the T, they'll realize the truth. Sadashiva Brahmendra, he was very logical and used to argue a lot, and discussion group and tarka and lot of hair splitting logic, and then he will go on talking to his batchmates and all that. And there's nothing, means he is sincerely doing that, not because he wants to prove he is very, intelligent and all that. Very sincerely he is doing that. And the Guru is observing his tendency over a period of few days and months. One day when he's having the discussion, what the Guru does? He comes there. He's talking, Sadashiva Brahmendra is talking to the group, and one discussion, debate, something is going on. He comes behind and he says, "Shut up. Chumma iru. Shut up." Bas. Shut up meaning he shut the mouth, shut the thinking only. Gone again into samadhi. That very moment gone into samadhi, finished. So that is the thing here. That is what is referred to here. Because if you read Shankaracharyaji's commentary, he says that Anyetu eteshu vikalpeshu anyatamena api evam yathokta atmanam ajanantaha anyebhya acharyebhya shrutva. Acharyebhya means one who is a wise person who is living. Acharya doesn't mean only somebody who is, formally renunciate or somebody who is, no. Acharyatiti acharya. Who is living that, who is a wise person. They will listen to them and they have the Shraddha ki bhai, he said it means, if he said I am Brahman means I am Brahman. Ab mujhe logic ki zarurat nahi hai. It's strange, na, that people study for many, many years and logically and understand and this tarka, that nyaya, this book, that book, everything, and still they won't have that conviction that I am Brahman. And here this person is not studying so much. He is saying if this wise man has said it, I am Brahman, that means I am Brahman. If he has said or she has said I am not this BMI, means I am not the BMI. Khatam baat. Isme itna kya sochna hai? So they hold on to that. Shruti parayanaha. Then they will realize. Idam evam chintayataha. That's what Shankaracharya has written. Shruti parayana means idam evam chintayanta. They listen to that only, saying ki yes, this is the truth. ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है? They don't prove to me how this is like that. Nothing. You said it, full stop. This is the truth. Huh? No questions. See, each one has their temperament. So for all temperaments, there are paths given. We don't have to copy somebody else. Ki saying, अभी इनको shut up बोला, इन्होंने बंद कर दिया, went into samadhi, तो मैं भी वही follow करूँगा. Each one has the temperament. If one has intellect which is very, very rational questioning, then go by that path. Nothing wrong with that. But what is the point? All the four will reach the truth. And all the four, through their path, will reach the truth. It's not necessary from the lowest one has to come to the higher one, then the higher one, then the highest one. Then only they will realize the truth. No, no. If somebody is already very pure in the mind, they are able to do dhyan, stay in that state of dhyan, do that. If somebody is not in that state and has to read, reflect, nididhyasan, then come to that state, do that. Somebody says, no, karma yoga. Karma yoga karte Pundalik got or not? Got darshan of Bhagwan. Now he is not sitting ki bhai now parents ke pair dabaye, abhi jao kisi ke paas, fir shastra ko padho, uske baad dhyan karo, iske baad nididhyasan. No. Through karma yoga, Bhagwan will ensure that he will bless them with knowledge. Gone. They also realized. Or this one, somebody who is a wise person, what they are saying, just hold on to that, gone across. So these are paths of how to realize. Now, why is it that this, so all the four paths, one common thing is what? Avidya has to go by knowledge. And that knowledge is knowledge of the self, which is essential oneness of the divine. So that is what is explained here. Yavat sanjayate kinchit satvam sthavara jangamam kshetra kshetrajna samyogat tadvidhi bharatarshabha. Yavat sanjayate kinchit. Whatever is born, meaning kinchit means anything, whatever. Sattvam sthavara jangamam. Sattvam here does not mean sattva guna, okay? Sattvam here means vastu, anything. Shankaracharya is written here. Samutpadyate sattvam vastu What is that? Sthavara Jangamam, moving and non-moving. So moving and non-moving means what? Non-moving are the inert things. And not only inert things, even plant, tree, non-moving. And moving is sentient beings. Animals, birds, humans, all the other yonis. Whatever is there, inert or sentient, moving or non-moving. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sthavaram sattvam sthavara jangamam. How has it come? Kshetra kshetrajna samyogat. It has come by the combination of kshetra and kshetrajna. Purusha and Prakriti only is kshetra and kshetrajna. That is here. Tad vidhi bharatarshaba. Know this, O best amongst the Bharatas, that whatever is here is a combination of kshetra kshetrajna, Purusha and Prakriti. And in that don't mix up this Prakriti and think you are that. You are Purusha who is independent and who has forgotten I am the Purusha, so you are going through sorrows of birth and death. So now separate. That's why the knowledge is most important. Because of ignorance that I am Purusha only, this whole thing has started. And then the mixture has happened. That's why in the path of knowledge, Vivek has to be done, separation. And this is a separation to be done. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishthantam parameshwaram vinashyatsva vinashyantam yah pashyati sa pashyati. So, when a person understands that whatever is there in this Srishti is a combination of Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Purusha and Prakriti, then the purpose we saw is to understand the difference, which is Purusha and which is Prakriti. I am not the Prakriti, I am the Purusha. This knowledge, what will it do? We saw earlier that Yayam Veti Purusham, Prakriti Chagunai Saha, they will go beyond cycle of birth and death. So, here he says now that when a person has gained that knowledge clearly, then person is freed from cycle of birth and death. And how this knowledge will destroy ignorance. That destruction of ignorance is what this 28th one says. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu. That Purusha is samam, same in all the beings. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishthantam parameshwaram is the Parameshwara. It's very interesting is the word tishthantam. Tishthantam means the one who is established or who is dwelling. The jivas, they come and they go. Their body is created, their bodies perish at the time of their birth and death, as well as at the time of cosmic deluge. All the jivas will become unmanifest. Again when Srishti will start, again the jivas will manifest. But Tishthantam word means what? Consciousness does not change. If the jivas are created also, consciousness is same. Jivas are living also, consciousness is the same. And all the jivas will die also. Then also consciousness is the same. Purusha is the same. Prakriti has these modes of creation, sustenance and destruction. Purusha doesn't have. So that is meaningless. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishthantam parameshwaram. Whoever sees this very clearly, ki I am that consciousness which is indestructible. Vinashyatsu avinashyantam. Amidst the perishing, what is imperishable? One who sees, that person truly sees. Yaha pashyati sa pashyati. This is a very nice expression. Yaha pashyati sa pashyati. One who sees, sees. जिसको दिख गया वो दिख गया, नहीं दिखा देखते रहो. Keep seeing. If you go to Chinmay Pradeep, we have written this, Yaha Pashyati Sa Pashyati. Where? In that Mahavakya Mandir, third Mahavakya Mandir, there are stereograms. If you stare, you will suddenly see Om. And हमने वहाँ पे 4 लगे रखे हुए हैं वहाँ पे, नहीं 5 है वहाँ पे. Each one you will see a different type of Om. And in one of them, it is not there. अब कोई बता दिख गया मुझे, खड़ा है उसके सामने जिसमें है ही नहीं, धाप मार रहा है सब, ये देख लिया मैंने. एंड हम उसका पोजीशन बदलते रहते हैं. So some people try this angle, that angle, ऊपर नीचे कुछ भी करके, दिखता है तो दिखता है, नहीं दिखता है तो नहीं दिखेगा. यह पश्यति स पश्यति. In this BMI, it is actually evident what is the self. Indestructible truth. Aham, aham, aham is in the heart. There is no end to that aham. Body goes through deep sleep, mind becomes completely quiet, prana I am not aware of. All that can happen to the BMI. What happens in pralaya time, na, we don't experience, but that mini experience of that is given to us every night in deep sleep. We are not aware of body, mind, intellect, individuality, nothing. But I still am. So vinashyatsu avinashyantam. In that which is destructible, that which is indestructible, that who sees, that person sees, that person has freed oneself from the cycle of birth and death. Khatam ho gaya unka kaam. Otherwise, and this expression is very nice, yaha pashyati sa pashyati. He who sees, sees. But for this intuitive vision to arise, what has to be done? Yaha na pashyati sa pashyati. Meaning what? One who does not see outside, that person only will see. Meaning you have to turn within. If one doesn't turn within, one is extroverted only, then yaha pashyati sa pashyati. So dekhte raho fir. Keep on being extrovert. That will lead to what? Cycle of birth and death. But if you say, bas, enough I have seen in the world, now nirvedam ayat. I got enough vairagya now, now I am turning within. Kitna dekhte rahoge bahar? That's what Vedanta is telling us. All those values which we saw, na? Indriyartheshu vairagyam, anahankara evacha, janma mrityu jara vyadhi, dukkha doshanu darshanam. This is called yaha na pashyati, where you stop seeing the world out there. If I stop the external vision, then only the intuitive insight will arise. Now, how it will arise otherwise? Going on running behind the things outside, and I want Brahman also. It is not possible to attain. Though Brahman is all pervasive outside, the realization will happen here only. Because avidya is in the heart, and the knowledge has to arise in the heart. And so when we say here, yaha pashyati sa pashyati, he who sees will see. For me to see that self, I need to withdraw. That's what Shankaracharya said. Na? Dhyana definition is what? Withdraw. Learn to withdraw. Best part is, this dhyan is to realize the absolute truth. This last year, na, we had Adhik Shravan, right? Last year we had, or year before last? Adhik Shravan, 1 extra month we had of Shravan. So in that I was doing Shivji's meditation. And I follow what the Vedantic meditation is. This is what is the Shastra saying. So teach. All of you know how to go from outside to body, to breath, to mind, intellect, and contemplate and realize. So 30 days gone, some 28th, 29th day, after the dhyan session is over, one man is asking the question. This is a very peaceful type of meditation. Can you teach some other types of meditation also? Some more dynamic, energetic, energizing, enjoyable meditation. I said that many others are teaching, that you can learn from anywhere. My sadhana is I want to turn within and realize the truth. तो इसके लिए तो यही मेथड मुझे आता है, मैं तो यही सिखाता हूँ, आप किसी और जगह जाके सीख लो. सिखा रहे हैं लोग, म्यूजिक डाल के ऐसे 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 करते रहो, फिर यू कम इन टू सम काइंड ऑफ अ स्टेट एंड देन यू सून एंड देन पीपल आर लुकिंग, अरे इसको क्या हो गया, अरे इसको क्या हो गया, अरे मुझे क्यों नहीं हो रहा, फिर जानबूझ के वो गिर रहा है, कुछ हो तो नहीं रहा, दिमाग के अंदर गिर रहा है, किसी को होता होगा वो गिर रहा है, किसी को नहीं होता वो देखा देखी करके भी गिर रहा है, कोई लाफिंग मेडिटेशन कर रहा है, कोई वॉकिंग मेडिटेशन कर रहा है, कोई ईटिंग मेडिटेशन कर रहा है, अब करो जो करना है, बट व्हाट इज द पॉइंट? If one wants to know this truth and go from the cycle of birth and death, be free, then this is only the method. Yaha pashyati sa pashyati. The only way is to know this truth. What is the truth? Vinashyatsu avinashyantam. In the perishable, that which is really imperishable, which we see every time, not only in our personality. You go to the ocean, what are you actually seeing? Vinashyatsu avinashyantam. Waves are rising and falling, which is perishable continuously. But in that, what am I seeing? Water. Water is imperishable. If I see water, then there is no rising and there is no perishing. If I see the form of the wave, then there is rising and perishing. If I see the mud, there is no problem. Now I don't see the mud. Now I think it is a pot. Now that pot is there. Now that pot is broken. Now this pot is gone. Arey. Then I am stuck. Then vinashyatsu, go on crying. But otherwise there is nothing to cry. My teacher used to say, if you are crying, it is only a result of some confusion in your head. Otherwise there is no reason to cry. Why? Because our swarup only is Anand. Why are you crying? Confusion, some attachment is there, that is all. That's why you are crying. Otherwise, why will you cry? Parabrahma Tattva is our Swarup. भगवान को कभी रोते हुए देखा है क्या? We may do some leela and be sad and all that to depict to the, devotees, how to overcome this and not even be disturbed by that to leave dharma. So Ramji cried. Parvati Devi only got deluded. ऐसे क्यों रो रही है? Is he really God? If he is God, why is he crying like this? And if he is crying like this, then he is not God. That is his leela. But otherwise, Ananda Swarup hai Bhagavan. That is our nature. So, vinashyatsu avinashyantam. Yaha pashyati sa pashyati. So, whenever one cries, one has to remember, if I am crying, it is because of some confusion. What is the confusion? Some wrong notion, some delusion, some attachment, it is there. That's why I am crying. I'm not able to accept, no, this has happened to me, or this can happen to me, or that person did this to me, or this situation happened, this loss happened, that. Those are tears of joy, that is no problem. But even there is a confusion. What? I am identified with the jiva who is feeling excited, ki, mil gaya mujhe. From Paramananda standpoint, that also is confusion only, however great it may be. There is nothing to look down upon that. We are only comparing from Paramananda standpoint. That's the highest standpoint. Otherwise, one feels the tears of joy, is nothing wrong, happy, no problem. So today I was supposed to complete this, but it has obviously not got completed. So wo agle Thursday ko hoga. But I am not here. I am in Kochi that time. So I will do one online class. I will tell you the date exactly. Most probably it will be 17th, which is Thursday only. But if there is a change, I will put on the group. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So, we will do the Arati. Swatiji, you can come. One of you can also do. Whoever yesterday someone did, other people go ahead and do. So we thank all our Yajmans, the Mukhya Yajmans, Tarana ji, Paragwag, Vandana ji, Bharat ji, Kalpana ji, Deepika ji, Geeta Aarti Yajman for all sessions, Hemant ji, Jyotsna ji, Chitra ji, Ajay Kasotia ji, Rajan ji, Ajay Merchant ji, Swati ji, Nalini ji, Jayashri ji, Nandita ji, Vaishali ji, Vijaya ji, Dipti ji and Manjari ji. Dainik Yajman for today, Neelam Gupta ji, Monika Nagpal ji, Hem Thakore ji, Achyutan Nair ji, Drupad Mahadevya ji, Ashish Bhushan ji and Majnu Gauture ji. And the Aarti Yajman for today, nobody, done. So we invoke Bhagwan's grace, Gurudev's blessings on all the Yajmans, their families, everyone present here. May Bhagwan bless us with this Vivek of Prakriti and Purusha. May we come to realize our oneness with the Purusha, be free from cycle of birth and death, and abide in the Brahma Swarup, Ananda Swarup. Om Tat Sat.
Om Jaya Om Jaya Bhagavad Gita, Maya Jaya Bhagavad Gita, Hariya Kamal Viharini, Sundar Supunite, Om Jaya Bhagavad Gita, Karma Sumarma Prakashini, Kama Sakti Hara, Tattva Jnana Vikashini, Vidya Brahma Para, Om Jaya Bhagavad Gita, Nischala Bhakti Vidhayini, Nirmal Malhari, Sharan Rahasya Pradayini, Sabhavidhi Sukhkari, Om Jaya Bhagavad Gita, Raga Dvesha Vidarini, Karini Moda Sada, Bhava Bhaya Harini Tarini, Paramananda Prada, Om Jaya Bhagavad Gita, Asura Bhava Vinashini, Nashini Tamarajani, Daivi Satgunudaini, Hari Rasika Sajani, Om Jaya Bhagavad Gita, Samata Tyaga Sikhavani, Hari Mukha Ki Bani, सकल शास्त्र की स्वामिनी, श्रुतियों की रानी, ओम जय भगवद गीते, दया सुधा बरसावनी, मातु कृपा कीजिए, हरिपद प्रेम दान कर अपनों कर लीजिए, ओम जय भगवद गीते, ओम जय भगवद गीते, न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम, नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोय अग्निः, तमेव भान्तम् अनुभाति सर्वं, तस्य भाषा सर्वमिदं विभाति। सतगुरुनाथ महाराज की जय, श्री गीता मैया की जय, चंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।